William Gaston Lewis was a Confederate general in the American Civil War. Early life. William G. Louis was born September 3, 1835, in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. He was the son of Dr. John Wesley Lewis and Catherine Ann Battle. He was educated at Lovejoy's Academy in Raleigh. Soon after the death of his father, the family moved to Chapel Hill, where Lewis entered the University of North Carolina, studying civil engineering. Lewis graduated in 1855. He then taught in Chapel Hill for a year, before moving to Florida. In 1857, he was appointed to the U.S. Survey Corps, and worked in Minnesota for over a year. He then returned to North Carolina and became assistant engineer on the Wilmington and Weldon Railroad. Civil War. When the Civil War began, Lewis joined the Confederate Army as the 3rd Lieutenant of Company A, 1st North Carolina Regiment. His first fighting came in the Battle of Big Bethel on June 10, 1861. By January 1862, he had been promoted to major and took part in the Battle of New Bern. For his actions at New Bern, he was promoted to lieutenant colonel of the 33rd North Carolina Infantry. Lewis fought with the regiment at the 7 Days Battle and the Battle of Malvern Hill. During the later months of 1862, he took part in the defense of Richmond. Louis returned to North Carolina in December 1862 and took part in the fighting in and around New Bern and Kinston. In the spring of 1863, his regiment returned to Virginia and he took part in the Gettysburg Campaign with the 43rd North Carolina Infantry as part of Brigadier General Junius Daniels' brigade of Major General Robert Roder's division. At Gettysburg, the regimental commander, Colonel Thomas S. Keenan, was wounded and captured, and Lewis took command of the regiment. After the Confederate retreat from Gettysburg, Lewis returned to North Carolina and took positions around New Bern. He subsequently took part in the fighting to recapture Plymouth. He led Robert Hoke's brigade at the Battle of Cold Harbor and was promoted to brigadier general following the battle in June 1864. He was then wounded during Jubal Early's raid on Washington. In 1864, he married Martha Lunshenda Mitty Pender, first cousin of Major General Dorsey Pender. Lewis also supervised the entrenchment of Drury's Bluff, Virginia. He took part in a skirmish near Farmville, Virginia, on April 7, 1865, but was once again wounded and captured during the fighting. He was paroled within 2 weeks. Throughout his military service in the Confederate Army, Lewis saw action in 37 battles and skirmishes. Post-war career. Following the war, Lewis returned to his peacetime career as a civil engineer, serving as the state engineer of North Carolina for 13 years, plus many years as roadmaster, construction engineer, chief engineer, and general superintendent for several railroads. In 1899, he was chief engineer for the Albany and Raleigh Railroad. Lewis died on January 7, 1901, from pneumonia.